welcome to another video from S16. I'm starting a new segment called Deck Check where I will talk about some interesting decks in Penny Dreadful that maybe flies under the radar because they are not tier 1 decks, but I think those are interesting decks that I hope a lot of people know about, and maybe some of you can tune it to make it even more competitive than I do. So I'm not claiming that these decks are my own brews. I just using the PD website and look through for some interesting deck, and then I play with it for few games, and then I will talk about them here. Okay, so for deck check episode 1, we will be talking about mono blue Merfolk deck. So when I found this deck initially, someone used it in the league, and then they are simic, so green and blue Merfolk deck with only creatures and lands. That's all, no other non-creature spells. I'm trying to see whether making it mono blue can help increase of course the stability of the mana, but will it be even better and can kill faster and consistently than the simic one? Maybe later I will show you in the next episode the simic Merfolk deck. Okay, so for this one it's very simple. As you can see, I have 30 creatures, basic Merfolk. For the 1 mana cost creature, it's quite hard to find a decent Merfolk creature, so what I ended up is with Drowner Initiate, just a simple 1 for 1/1 which have additional milling effect that sometimes will be quite useful. Enclave Cryptologist, card filtering, which sometimes if you have enough lords can turn out to be also another attacker. Coralhelm Commander, flyer and our lords, one of the lord. Grimoire Thief, it's interesting one that you can call it milling creature as well, because every time it attack, it become tap, it will exile the top 3 cards of your opponent library. So because there is no other good 2 mana cost blue Merfolk that I can find, but I don't know, maybe some of you can find a better one, but I like Grimoire Thief. It has been my go-to for few seasons. Silver Guild Adept, I think this is a staples in any Merfolk deck. Sick River Cutthroat, the ability might seems less attractive, but some of the games that I played, I actually drew few cards from their ability, so it's good. Kopala, to fight any single targeting removal, and these 2 lords sovereign that can help us to make our last finishing blow become unblockable. And Ridgery here, it's quite interesting. You can tap opponent's blocker, so you can attack unblock, or you can untap your land to play even more Merfolks. It's quite flexible. So this is the 30 creatures. Then I have 6 spells, memory lapse, just to buy time, so you can keep continuing attack while your opponent cannot advance their board and they cannot draw new card. Crashing Tide to play against a creature deck. Wondering why the preview not showing up. And then Deep Root Waters. I have to say, in my 10 matches with this deck, Deep Root Waters here really helps me improving my, because this deck is all about attack, traditionally, you know, going to the battle zone, just attack with your creature. So getting free hexproof Merfolk, which will be grow bigger by these 12 lords, never hurts. And if you have 2 waters out, which I had in one game, I think, basically you win the game unless your opponents have mass removal. And 22 island, but I don't know, I'm in some games I flooded hard, so maybe we can try to lower down to 21 or 20. For the sideboard, annul, because we have several troublesome enchantments in this season. Recurring Nightmare for one, obviously, and some others, so it's nice. Dive Down for usually red decks match up. Miss Color for reanimation deck. Repeal for aggro deck. And Mana Leak, usually if I prefer to not giving my opponents their spell spec, usually I will swap this and memory lapse. And then more Kopala. Okay, before I continue, I will have to say that currently 29th April 2020, Kopala is broken in Magic Online. So their ability here, if you target a Merfolk, the spells your opponent cast will cost 2 more if you target 1 or more Merfolk. So if you target 2 Merfolk with same spell, it should only cost 2 more, not 4. But currently it will cost 4 more, which is wrong. So if you are playing Kopala in any hour sanction event, the league or the gathering events, please be aware that if your opponent want to target 2 Merfolks and then they are affected by the bug because they need to pay 4 instead of 2, you as the controller of Kopala will need to concede the game and move on to the next game. to the sideboard and then the next game. Okay, I put the disclaimer first because I don't want you to later when you use this in our sanction event, then you will not be surprised if you get the game losses. Okay, but it's quite rare. We don't have any good spells that target 2 or more Merfolks, but there's few. But in 99% of case you will not have problem with Kopala. Okay, so like what I said before, this deck is all about attack and attack. So there's not a lot of combat tricks, not a lot of counter spells. So basically the deck will be good against any creature decks. Even the red decks, I have few success against them. And this deck weakness is obviously any mass removal decks, even Pyroclasm. Usually if you have only one lords, will be enough to clear the boards, and we cannot really play defensively because our deck is not built that way. You need to quickly kill your opponent because we don't have a lot of combat or blocking tricks in the deck. Also, we are prone to boss decks because they can throw out big fat creatures, and then our deck really can't deal with those kind of deck. And yeah, that's all. So it's a fun deck, you can try it. You can play it in the league if you want to try it. I'm not suggesting bringing this to Gatherling because at least in its current version that I show you, it's not competitive enough to even reach the top 8. So maybe any of you can try to tinker with it maybe, and then make this one more competitive. Let me know, prove me wrong, and then maybe I will review and check your deck in the next episode. Okay, I think that's all for now, and we'll see in the next episode of Deck Check.